Prabhupada ki. Welcome to the Bhadra campaign 2020. I'm very happy to get this opportunity to speak. I'd like to begin by thanking the organizers for this very important event. We all know how book distribution was so central and so vital, so important for our founder, Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And in the last few years, this Bhadra campaign has highlighted and given opportunity to many people to actually become involved by distributing sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this year, I've been asked to make a short presentation in the context of the ministry we have here in India, which is especially reaching out to villages. This is the ISKCON Daiva Varnashram ministry. We have our office in Sri Ramayapur. The ministry has been in operation for the last over 11 years. And our main focus actually is in villages. I very much appreciate the opportunity actually to speak in this context because although books, as we know, Prabhupada said books are the basis, at the same time, not only is it important to read Srila Prabhupada's books, not only is it important to discuss Srila Prabhupada's books, not only is it important to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, what is also extremely important and at times maybe neglected or not properly or not fully understood, how we should be living Srila Prabhupada's books. And in the context of villages, because village in terms of Vedic culture plays such a vital and important role. And we all know, for the last so many months, the whole world is caught up in this global pandemic where many people, and including many of our own devotees, are naturally much more thoughtful. And just a few hours ago, I happened to be listening to an interview with His Holiness Kavi Chandra Maharaj, who's in lockdown right now in Bali. And of course, Maharaj has been a great supporter and himself has shown by example the importance of book distribution. He was relating how, because especially in a place like Bali where it's basically a tourist place, now no tourists are coming, so everyone is very much localized. He was mentioning this very interesting point, how many devotees are, because Bali, although touristic in nature, is also very much an agricultural-based island. So many devotees, he was telling, are getting involved with farming. Within our ministry here in India, in the last few years, actually in March this year, literally speaking, a few days before the official announcement of the lockdown imposed here in India, I had just completed a 2-year marathon in visiting 108 villages in about 7 states in India. And this idea or proposal to actually place a set of Srimad Bhagavatam in the local language of the people in that particular state was presented to me by members of the global team who are very much working with His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, who's heading up this Bhadra campaign. And of course, I'm referring to Sri Ram Prabhu, who's helping here in India, and Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu in California. And so, one of the main purposes I had in the last 2 years gone to these villages was to actually make contact and inspire them to be connected, to take up their original Vedic culture. That's one of the main, we could say, objectives of our ministry. And this came as an ideal, we could say, program, and as an ideal follow-up to actually place one set of Srimad Bhagavatam in all of these villages, and to actually establish with the local leaders an official Bhaktivedanta library, whereby, because actually in going to these villages, naturally we met all kinds of local people expressing a lot of interest. Many of them actually, our program involved having Harinam Sankirtan, Go Puja, and having people pledge to chant the holy name at least one round every day. And many people were also taking books, and therefore we were thinking how to follow up, how to give an opportunity to these people. And this is one of the most ideal ways by which we can give them the opportunity to be connected with Srila Prabhupada's books, with the Vedic culture, with the concept of what is called Vedic farming or natural farming. Preaching is not only limited to going out to meet people. Preaching is not simply distributing books. Preaching, we should understand in a much broader manner. Actually, I was just having this realization a few days ago in writing to one devotee, that in our urban centers, in the cities, frontline preaching is book distribution. But in the country, frontline preaching is actually doing Vedic farming. Because practically speaking, no one is doing natural farming nowadays, and because of that, that is destroying our land, our soil, all over the world, creating one of the major global problems that is there. So in other words, Srila Prabhupada's books, it's not only philosophy, but actually applied philosophy. And this is a very important point that I would like to especially emphasize to our viewers today. And I want to make this connection, between what Srila Prabhupada actually referred to as the first phase, the first of four movements within Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. There are actually four specific phases, four divisions, and they are interconnected, interlocked with one another. And today, actually, I want to take this opportunity to connect the first of these phases, which happens to be book distribution. Actually, it is simultaneously Harinam and book distribution, which, as we know, Prabhupada referred to as the Brihat Mridanga, isn't it? So Srila Prabhupada actually in a very important writing called Gita Nagari, way back in 1956, referred to these four movements. Sankirtan movement based on the holy name and book distribution. Second movement he referred to as a deity worship movement, installing deities, opening temples. Third, he referred to as spiritual initiation movement, congregational development. And fourth, he referred to as classless society, establishing society based on the natural God-given system, social system of Varna and Ashrama. And the occupational duties, Lord Krishna speaks about occupational duties, prescribed duties, which are also elaborated upon by Srila Narada Muni in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. whereby he speaks about dharma. Dharmabulam hi bhagavan sarva vedharmayo harihi smritam chat bidam rajan yena chatma prasidati. Those who are actually devotees are meant to meditate, to very deeply meditate on the full, complete meaning of dharma. And we have emphasized this practically every time we would give lectures in these villages. We would highlight these two aspects of dharma. The spiritual dimension of dharma, whereby we cultivate our spiritual life, we awaken our original spiritual identity as eternal servants of Krishna. That is one level. And the second level, which is often misunderstood and not applied, especially because modern day society does not favor that, is what is called the material swadharma. What is meant to be the natural way in which we live, the natural way in which we work, what are meant to be the natural occupations in society. And I just want to end on this point here. Srila Prabhupada, of course, began his movement in New York City, as we know, and he encouraged his devotees from the very beginning to go out and do Harinam. And then in the days when I joined in late 73, 74, basically we were distributing, Bhakti Godhead magazines. But simultaneously, Srila Prabhupada wanted that we demonstrate the practical application of this philosophy. So this is where the first movement, the Bhadra campaign is focused on this first movement of encouraging people to take these transcendental books, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And I think what is very important, especially in the context of what is taking place around the world today, this is a real message that Krishna is sending to all of us, to the whole world, and especially, I would say, to us as devotees. Our world has become overly digital. And, what is taking place now, in many ways, is forcing us to even become more digital. And of course, Prabhupada was not against modern technology. At the same time, we should understand that the more we become overly involved in these kind of, I would say, modern technologies, then we tend to lose out on some of the basics. That's a whole major topic, of course. Therefore, I again want to thank the organizers of this Bhadra campaign. I wish to make an appeal to whoever is listening to kindly support this wonderful endeavor on Bhadra Purnima. We are wanting to distribute 10,000 sets, 108 sets we are pledging for these villages. I mean, India has over 700,000 villages, and there's so many other villages around the world also. We should have a set of Prabhupada's books in every single village, and someone going there on a regular basis to preach and training individuals from that village to understand both the spiritual Swadharma aspect as well as the material Swadharma, so that people actually Smritam chat bidam rajan yena chatma prasidati. This verse, nicely explaining by Narasimha, when we understand nicely, properly, fully, deeply the meaning of dharma, then this will be able to actually help us meet all of our material necessities, all of our emotional and mental, as well as social necessities, and of course will help us to meet all of our spiritual necessities. So once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm pre-recording this in case, because all day actually we had sun. For many weeks we had no sun. Today the first sun is coming, but now it's starting to rain again. So I don't know if I'll be able to be live on this program this evening. But once again, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Ki. Maharaj, if you're listening, anyway, these words are out of appreciation for your appearance and your lecture. What I really felt from that was the unity aspect. So brilliantly, you brought up the point of how all of the programs work together. One of the objectives of the Bhadra Purnima is to unite the global team of devotees and all the different aspects of the devotee service so that we're working together. And your being here, giving your attention and energy to this project is helping to unite everyone. I find that when the leaders come together, especially in a heartfelt spirit of cooperation, then that's when everything really happens. And one of the points you brought up, there's others to speak. I want to hear from Bhima Prabhu in a second. But I really liked how you said the digitalization of the world. And I related it to what Radhanath Maharaj said about Srila Prabhupada sitting in Radha Damodar. And he said that there was no checking on Facebook to see what did people think of my translations today or anything like that. It was just he and Krishna. And the internet is already there through Krishna's connection to all living entities through Paramatma. But as His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami was pointing out, we can become so externally focused, we forget our base and how to stay connected to Krishna on that level. Thank you very, very much, Maharaj. Just knowing that you're out there putting those Srimad Bhagavatam sets in villages is very enlivening to all of us.
I always, every time I hear Bhakti Raghava Swami, I get some little information that is just really super enlightening and super pleasing. I remember last time before this, I heard his lecture in Mayapur, and it was so nice. He was saying how Krishna, then Namo Brahmani Devaya Go Brahmane, Krishna likes the cows, Krishna likes the Brahman. But he was explaining that he even likes the cows before he likes the Brahman. And that's the culture of Vrindavan. Also, he explained that in Vrindavan, when they're making rotis, chapati, the first roti goes to the cow. The second roti, it's the culture there in Braj, will go to the Brahman. And Krishna has to wait for the third roti. So I heard that from him, and it was so enlivening. It kind of brings you closer to what our culture of Krishna consciousness actually is. So that's an important thing, because Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna consciousness is a cultural presentation.
So first of all, the Bhadra Purnima this year will be symbolically punctuated with a Maha Yagna that will take place at AHOBILAM on Bhadra Purnima. It's already lined up. Sri Ram Prabhu, one of the great champions of book distribution in India, I have the pleasure of serving with him under Bhima Prabhu, has arranged this. It will. There's a special way in which the priest will be offering the names of everyone who not only distributes a set of Srimad Bhagavatams or buys a set of Srimad Bhagavatams or refers 5 people who might take sets of Srimad Bhagavatams. All these names will be read in this holy place, an appearance place of Lord Nrsingadev himself. So that yagya is something that you can bring up to people, that their name will be mentioned there in this holy place at this yagya on the Bhadra Purnima. Let's see the next slide. So get at least one set for yourself, gift at least one set, or sponsor at least one set, or give referrals for at least 5 worthy recipients.